It's getting colder. We're going to be spending more time inside, breathing on each other, coughing. You see where I'm going here. Flu and COVID season are coming, and you can get vaccines for both. So why not get them at the same time? That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Pearsall Wealth Management at UBS Wealth Management USA, subsidiary UBS AG, member FINRA SIPC, 1 Broad Street Plaza, Glens Falls. And the New York State Caregiving and Respite Coalition, seeking volunteers aged 55 plus to support family caregivers in northern and central New York. Visit nyscrc/AmeriCorps.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, October 28th. First up, early voting is underway in New York. I've heard reports of long lines in Canton, so give yourself some time to vote. Polls are open for early voters until Sunday, November 3rd. Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul said today state and local officials are working to ensure voters can cast their ballots smoothly and safely.
There are no credible threats to the election integrity of our systems here in the state of New York, but we are on vanguard to make sure that we are prepared for all scenarios. And I want to thank our Attorney General for deploying her office, as she always has, as a resource, but also an enforcer to ensure that there is no intimidation, that our laws are followed.
The state's election protection hotline opened on Saturday. Attorney General Letitia James is reminding voters that state and federal law protects them from intimidation, deception, suppression, and obstruction. If you have questions or concerns, you can call 866-390-2992 or submit an online complaint. There's no voting on Monday, November 4th, and then Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. The only debate between the candidates running in New York's U.S. Senate race was hosted by Spectrum News at the University of Albany last Wednesday night. Incumbent Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand and Republican challenger Mike Sapraicone clashed on topics like Proposition 1, the border bill, and the SNAP program. Pat Bradley reports for the New York Public News Network.
Kirsten Gillibrand was appointed to her seat in 2009 and won 6-year terms in 2012 and 2018. Sapraicone is a retired New York City police detective who then created a security services company. One of their most extended clashes occurred over abortion rights. The candidates were asked about New York's Proposition 1, the Equal Rights Amendment, which would prohibit unequal treatment and protect reproductive health care autonomy. Gillibrand said she plans to vote for it.
I believe in equality. I believe women in this country deserve equal rights. We deserve bodily autonomy. We deserve the right to make decisions about when we're having children and under what circumstances we're having children. And an equal rights amendment in New York will guarantee equality for everyone.
Mr. Sapraicone.
I'll vote no. I mean, what the senator is saying, we all should agree with, but that's not what this amendment is for. That's not what this proposition is for. And what it's about is that you're going to let an 8-year-old decide if they have the right to change what they are from male to female or female to male. You're not going to include the parents. It doesn't talk about abortion. We have the most expansive abortion law in the country for over 50 years. This proposition is not changing the way abortion is. It's only taking the rights away from parents.
You're absolutely wrong.
During a discussion on immigration reform, the two candidates argued over a bipartisan border bill that lost House support. Gillibrand chastised former President Donald Trump for influencing the vote, while Sapraicone, who has been endorsed by Trump, questioned why Democrats couldn't manage to pass the measure.
The bipartisan bill, which should have been supported, but President Trump derailed it for political purposes. He said, don't vote for this bill. I want it to be a campaign issue.
The Democrats have the majority of the Senate. You've been a senator for 15 years. Why were you not able to even get that bill on the floor in the Senate so that it would have passed in the Senate and then it would have went to the House? How does that fail?
Because Donald Trump told the House of Representatives, do not vote for this bill. If you vote for this bill, it will harm my chances of winning the presidency, and I am more important than fixing New York's problem. So my question for you is, how come the 5 new Republican House members did nothing as majority makers in the House to demand that Speaker Johnson put that bill on the floor? And when we did vote on it, Democrats voted for that common sense reform.
Not in the Senate, they didn't,
yes,
Senator.
We did.
You did not vote for it.
We
It never
did
came
vote for
to
it.
the floor.
I'm a senator, you're not. I was there.
Correct. You
We
are
voted,
a senator and I'm not,
we
but that
voted
may
for
change.
It.
That may change in 2
You're
weeks.
wrong.
The Farm Bill, which includes provisions to fund farm and food nutrition programs, must be reauthorized. Sapraicone contends SNAP, or the food stamp program, should be reassessed, leading to Gillibrand defending the current iteration of the program.
I think we could reevaluate the program of SNAP and look at it in a different way. But I certainly think a lot of the things we do are wasteful, and I think it needs to be reevaluated.
SNAP is not a wasteful program. It is one of the most effective programs that exist to get rid of hunger insecurity.
While the two candidates argued on a number of issues, there were some topics they agreed on. As reports indicate Israel may retaliate against Iran, the duo expressed support for Israel. In Plattsburgh, I'm Pat Bradley for the New York Public News Network.
So let's talk about the flu and COVID and their respective vaccines. Catherine Wheeler sat down with St. Lawrence County Public Health Director Aaron Strife.
I would recommend getting them at the same time because it's just easier. If you're already at the pharmacy, if you're already at your doctor's office, it would be one visit rather than two. There's no need to spread them out a certain amount of time the way there are with different types of vaccines. Flu and COVID you can get at the same time. There's a chance, as with any vaccination, that the person who gets vaccinated may experience some symptoms of illness the next day because that's the feeling of your body's immune system mounting a response to the vaccine.
When we're thinking about these COVID shots now, are public health officials thinking about them in the same way they're thinking about flu shots, and we should be getting them seasonally?
At this point, yes, because there's indications that immunity wanes over time. Plus, not unlike seasonal influenza, COVID strains vary. So what the predominant strain is at any given time is not necessarily what it was last year. And so the manufacturers of the vaccine try to predict and keep up with what they think the predominant strain will be for a given season.
Is there any benefit on getting them early or waiting later into the season?
The recommendation would be to get them when they become available. As we saw late summer, there was a spike in COVID incidents, and we typically expect viruses to circulate more in the wintertime because we're inside and together and closer to each other more in the wintertime because of the weather. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't also get the flu or COVID at any point in the year. My recommendation would be as soon as the updated seasonal vaccine becomes available to just go ahead and get it.
As we head into this season of being closer together, are there other things that you recommend to keep people healthy over the winter? The usual hand washing is the best way always to prevent infection, effective hand washing. Soap, water, at least 15 to 20 seconds. Dry your hands with a paper towel if available. And beyond that, the things that keep us healthy for a number of different reasons also help our immune systems fight viruses better. Getting adequate sleep, eating healthy food, getting reasonable amounts of exercise. Those help prevent a number of diseases, chronic diseases as well, but they also help keep us healthy in terms of flu and COVID resistance.
That was St. Lawrence County Public Health Director Aaron Strife talking about the impending flu season with Catherine Wheeler. One quick note. Thank you so much to all of you who donated during our super successful fall fundraiser. $370,000 and counting raised for public radio journalism that matters. The news that seeks out the truth and the facts. Wow, your generosity is so amazing and so important. Thank you so much. Music today by Patricia Julian of Burlington and Gretchen Kohler and Daniel Kelly of Potsdam. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.